All right, folks, welcome back to Guitar Radio Show. Our next guest really doesn't even need an introduction at this point because of how he's turned the guitar world upside down. Uh, I've been following him since 2019 NAMM show when I was blown away. And He's one of the guitar players, and I want to touch on this a little bit. He's one of the guitar players that didn't get didn't really get stymied by the pandemic. He used his time well. He prepared, and then when the curtain came back up and we were able to get back out there in the world, he was ready to go. And
Thank you.
I think that's really great. So please welcome to Guitar Radio Show, Mr. Matteo Mancuso. How are you, sir?
Thank you so much. Too kind, man. I'm good. I'm good. Thanks.
um, so you've got a tour coming up. You're finally going to get to tour America.
Yeah.
And it's about a month and a half long, the tour. It starts May 20, and it's gonna begin in Boston, which
Yeah.
a lot of people have historically and successfully. I think it might be a good luck charm to start your tour in Boston. um, I know Aerosmith does. I know that Aerosmith is from there, but Van Halen has done that in the past. All these big name acts have always seemed to start their tour in Boston, probably because they're some of the toughest audiences you can play in front of.
Oh, wow.
you know, because they know what they like. They like what they know, and yeah. So I think you're in good shape. Being at the City Winery too, opening there, which is a hallowed ground. I know you and I share a lot of favorite guitar players. I know you love Scott Henderson,
Yeah.
and he has played there many times, and also Wayne Krantz. So you familiar with Wayne?
Yeah. Yeah. I know
Yeah,
Wayne. Yeah.
yeah. So he plays at the City Winery often, all the City Wineries. So yeah, you're in good company. You're in good company, and you've got a great way to cut your teeth on an American audience for sure.
Wow. Great. Yeah. Can wait. I mean, Boston has for sure a lot of musical heritage. So,
Oh boy,
yeah.
incredible. Yeah. So is this going to be a trio
Yeah. It's
tour?
gonna be a trio, like guitar, bass, and drums. Yeah.
Right. Cool. And it's the usual guys that you go out with, or?
Yeah. It's Gianluca Pellerito on the drums and
Mhm.
Ricardo Oliva on bass. Yeah.
Fantastic. Great. I'm in Austin, Texas. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get to see any of these shows because you're not coming anywhere near the Southwest, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But My co-host, Rob Wingler, who lives in New Jersey, is already looking at the Red Bank show that you're going to do there, which is at a theater called the Vogel, and it's a beautiful theater. It's a
Great.
great sounding room. So yeah, it's going to be very good, I think. Um,
Amazing.
Now, when you do something like this, you come into America first time as far as doing a tour in earnest. How does that change for you as far as your rig is concerned? Do you bring your normal rig, or are you going to be doing rentals, backlines? What are you going to do?
Well, as a lazy guy, I try to have the smallest rig possible, let's say. So, especially when I'm traveling, I like to travel light. So I always bring with me two guitars. So I
Right.
have a double case. I have a Yamaha Pacifica. It's a Strat style guitar and an
Hmm.
humbucker style guitar, the Yamaha Repstar. So these two are my main guitars for the whole concert. And as far as rig, I only have a digital pedal board,
Right.
and I'm currently using Line 6 LX Stomp.
Hmm.
And there's the Excel version of the Stomp where you have more switches available.
Right.
Uh, but sometimes I also use the Fractal FM3,
Hmm.
and it's a smaller unit. I think it's not really that small, actually. It's quite bulky, but it's small enough to fit on the case. Um, So for me, it's all about having the smallest gear possible in order to travel light.
Yeah.
And I always use the digital amp simulation for all of my gigs. We did an European tour where I brought the Fractal with me, always the
Right.
FM3, and it sounds wonderful. And I don't feel the need to have an amp behind me. Not necessarily because it doesn't sound good. I love amps as well, but
Right.
just for me, I don't see uh, the that big of a difference from
Hmm.
digital to analog in order to choose the analog over the digital stuff. So I think for me right now is the best choice. Also because we are running sequences for
Hmm.
some of the songs, so
Hmm.
we need to have in ears all of three, and because of the click and all, some of the recorded guitars, and because of that, even if you have an amp, uh, if you have in ears, you are not hearing really the amp. You are hearing the like mic from the amp. Um, so it's kind of a strange feeling at the start, but
Hmm.
I got used to it over time. And if you tweak your tones in a really good way within ears, you can easily play at the best of your game, let's say. And also
Hmm.
because I really like to play with in-ears because my drummer plays really loud. And before the in-ears, we were playing only with the wedges, and I heard too many crash, too many like cymbals and all of that, and it was like through the ears in a really bad way. So
Yes.
now with the in-ears, everything is way more controlled, and I
Hmm.
really played my best gigs with in-ears. So I'm really happy with the result right now.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, it's interesting. I was such an amp guy for a long time, and I still am from one amp perspective. Like, I found for me ultimately the Vox AC15 was my amp.
Yeah,
So now when I record, often enough, I don't even use the Vox that's in the room. I'll use the amp sim of the Vox because I know it's going to work great with my pedal board because I know
yeah,
that the pedal board works great with the actual Vox. So, so, but you're one of those players that I have found from a textural standpoint that you have used the digital world in a very analog manifestation or an analog intention. Um, Honestly, when I listen to the Journey record, it sounds, I'm sure there's a lot of digital in there, but to me, it sounds very analog. It sounds very
oh,
pure,
thanks.
particularly. And I wanted to talk about this one song, which completely captures me every time I hear it. It pulls me away, in a way that music should pull you away. Is the track "Open Fields"?
Yeah,
I love this song so much. I think it's absolutely
thank you.
beautiful. Um, and what I like about it is um, you're not on fire in it. You're not flying across the fretboard. You're doing you have this restraint and this intention and this the beauty of it and the honesty of it all is just fantastic. And to me, I think we have to measure ourselves as musicians. And I listen to 100 hours of music every week easily
Yeah,
because there's music always coming my way. Hey, do you want to do an interview with it? Hey, you want to do it? So you know, and like I said, I've been listening to you since this record came out. Saw you at Nam, was like, what the hell is this? This is a
thank
whole
you.
nother thing. But then when I heard Open Fields, I was like, okay, because
Thank you.
ultimately, in the world we live in, I'm sure you can probably relate to this. In the world that we live in, ever since the beginning of guitar, going all the way back to Les Paul, going back to uh, Django. Let's look at Django. I mean, two fingers, and he did everything that he did,
Yeah,
and he blew us all away. I mean, he certainly blew Les Paul away. I had many conversations with Les Paul regarding Django and how that
yeah,
just kind of messed with his head. It changed his DNA. But when Django did something smooth and lilting and beautiful and not necessarily flying all over the place, is when you really captured the heart of the musician, in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And that's what open fields does for me. Every time I hear it, I stop. I may be doing other things while I'm listening to music, maybe working on other stuff, but that song allows me to stop and say, this is a musician being his true self. And I have to give that the space that it needs. So thank you for writing that piece of music. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much. Very appreciated. Yeah, open
Um,
fields. I think it's mostly digital. I think I
mhm.
don't really remember how I recorded it, but I think it was mostly digital stuff. And it's strange because actually this song started with a classical guitar. I
I believe
started
that.
writing with a classical
Mhm.
guitar, and it was a solo guitar piece. And then I translated to a trio version simply because I wanted to play it live.
Mhm.
And I still don't have the chance to bring a third guitar with me, like a classical guitar. Maybe one day will be possible, but
Yeah.
that's why I choose to like record a electric version, let's say. But
Mhm.
actually started with the classical guitar. That's why one day I will for sure record a classical version of it, because it was like
Beautiful.
the original version of Open Fields.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, and it's funny that you should mention that. It totally makes sense that that came from a classical guitar piece initially, because you can hear that truth and honesty in it. Do you think you'll ever, potentially do an all acoustic guitar record or a classical guitar record?
I
And
would like to do
and when
it
I say
like,
classical guitar, I don't necessarily mean you doing Bach or Soar or, Bartok pieces. I'm talking more along the lines of your original classical based music.
well, I'm planning to do this for my third album. I,
Wonderful.
I would like to like release the second album as more or less like the first one, like electric pieces, some classical pieces as well. But the
Yes.
third album, I would like to record it entirely on classical and acoustic guitar, because it's how I write. I began to write songs
Hmm.
always with classical or acoustic guitar,
Yeah.
and that's I believe that in a way, if a song works just with one guitar, that means there is a good song.
Yes.
um, Especially now that we have everything on digital recording available, you can do like 20 100 tracks, and you sometimes exaggerate with guitars as well. uh,
Yes.
but in order to really know if a tune works, it's always useful to do like melody and harmony at the same time with the guitar, just with
Mhm.
one guitar, and see if it works. And
Yeah.
that's a thing I do a lot. Yeah.
It really is the beauty of this instrument that we're talking about. I mean, it has this it has this beauty of just being a one man band, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like a piano, I mean, it's much harder with the French horn. It's much
Yeah. 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 A little bit harder. Yeah.
harder. um, would it be safe to say that your first guitar hero was probably your father, Vincenzo?
Well, yeah, I think so. Let's say that it was for sure my first teacher. He kind of
Yeah.
introduced me to this guitar world, and I started playing when I was 10. And it kind of introduced me to a lot of bands that I would have never know without his help. Like
Hmm.
he introduced me to Led Zeppelin. He introduced me to Jimmy. He introduced me also to a lot of the jazz guys like Wes Montgomery, Django Reinhardt.
Yeah.
And that's why I consider him also a listening guide rather than just a teacher.
Hmm.
Uh, and, and because of that, if you listen to a lot of different things from the start, I think you have an advantage, simply because back when we are kids, we are little sponges, and everything you hear is different. If you hear it when you have like 30s, it's not the same thing when you have 10 years old.
Hmm.
And so that's why I consider myself extremely lucky, because I got the chance to listen a lot of things from the start, and uh, trying to copy, and trying to learn by ear a lot. And that
Hmm.
was like I think one of the most important aspects of my musical development.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's wonderful. I remember hearing you say once that your first, I think you said that your first introduction to Joe Pass was the Virtuoso album.
Yeah, yeah, but I
Was
have
for
to
me as well.
say, yeah, yeah. Back when I listened to it the first time, I didn't really like it actually.
Really?
Yeah, because I was a little bit I mean I was like 14 or 15 years old. I don't really remember, but it was a little bit boring to me because I was interested to, people like Ingrid Malmsteen or Paul
Hmm, hmm,
Gilbert, people
hmm.
from the 80s, and I really didn't get Virtuoso the first time I heard it.
Right.
Then back when I listened to it again, when I was like 18 or 19, and I started to dig more into the jazz stuff,
Hmm.
I began to enjoy it more. But still, it's not really my favorite album from Joe Pass. I like Joe Pass more when he's playing with the rhythm section.
Okay.
And and he's you can hear the swing, you can hear his
Hmm.
flow of ideas. And there's
Hmm.
one version of Night and Day of Joe Pass. I consider this recording one of his best recordings. I don't really remember the album name. Maybe it's called like For Django or something similar. It's a
Oh,
tribute
okay.
to Django.
Uh-huh.
And there's one tune called Night and Day, and
Hmm.
that's one of his best playing. I also transcribed that solo, I think. And Joe Pass with a rhythm section is a completely different thing from Virtuoso.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
more joyful, there's more swing, more energy to it because of course it's different when you're playing with the drummer and the bass player. It's for sure different. As
Absolutely.
much as I like Virtuoso, but it's more interesting to hear players playing with the rhythm section. I think
Hmm.
at least for me, of course.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, it leads me to my next question because we hear, and I know you're hearing it too, and I'm curious to know, how does it make you feel when you're hearing people calling you a virtuoso or the hottest guitarist on the planet? How does that make you feel?
Well, I'm not a big fan of the word virtuoso. Uh, not necessarily because I don't like to being called. Of course, I'm really happy when people uh, talk about me in this way. So I'm
Mhm.
flattered, of course.
Right.
But the word virtuoso means that you have always to play complicated stuff, and you have always to demonstrate people that you are a virtuoso in a way. But
Hmm.
I don't like to have this kind of mindset, especially when I play. And my mindset, let's say, that changed all over the years. When I was a teenager, I was playing, let's say, I was playing to impress in a way. And when you switch the word impress to express, you will play a lot better over time.
That's beautiful.
And that's one thing that resonated with me a lot. You need to be able to play to express yourself, not to impress other people.
Right.
Otherwise, you are not really playing the thing you have in your head. You are
Right.
playing the thing you have in your fingers, and that's a
Right.
completely different thing. And that's the thing I still try to work on it to this day, because we learn to play so many different things, and I learned to play, let's say, in a technical way because I had some ideas in my mind that without studying the technique I would never be able to play them.
Hmm.
So studying technique, it's a way of expressing yourself uh, in a more detailed way, and not necessarily because you want to learn hard things. You study technique because you want to express yourself better, not
Hmm.
just because you want to uh, play fast things, because a lot of
Right.
people associate technique with fast guitar playing, but it's not really the thing for me. Like technique for me is also a good bending, it's also a good intonation on your
Hmm.
melody,
Hmm.
controlling your sound, and a lot sound quality, of course.
Absolutely.
This is all the technique for me. It's not just speed, and a lot of people confuse technique with speed. uh, yeah.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because that, I mean, because of the world we live in, the YouTube world that we live in, you know, there are so many people out there that are forgetting about the music itself, and they're more concerned about the pyrotechnics of it all. And
Yeah.
and that's fun. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's fun. It's a blast to watch somebody shred it all up and really just like, wow, did you see that? Especially the first time I saw you, I was like, wow. But I'm sensing from you uh, authenticity
Thank you.
and honesty about it all. And I've used that word a couple of times actually. It keeps falling out of my mouth. The honesty of it all. That's important, and I think that's what's going to take you the long road, and
Thank you.
hopefully the audience can mature as well. You know what I mean?
Thanks. Yeah.
That's the key. And I think, you writing what you feel, is always the way to go. Always the way to go. Don't write for anybody else. Write for you, and then everybody else will catch up. That's how I look at it anyway.
Yeah, yeah. That's a really important thing to me because especially in the process of writing new compositions or writing new stuff in general, the more you write for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
the more you understand about yourself as a person, I think, and the more you understand what you like, what you don't like about some certain types of music, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's why I feel like the more I learn about guitar, the more I understand about myself also as a person. And that's really a tough process sometimes because sometimes we go into the rabbit hole that we want to fulfill somebody else taste or they expect maybe some kind of music from you, but the reality is that you need to discover for yourself what you like
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
what is the process of your compositional material, because I'm
Yeah.
still figuring out a process, the right process to write music. And
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not, I still don't know exactly how to write a song. Like sometimes I just grab the guitar and I have the melody in my head immediately. Sometimes I work on it. Sometimes it starts with a drum pattern. So
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know where is. I still don't have like an exact routine to write
Mm-hmm.
music,
Mm-hmm.
and that's maybe the beauty of it. It's not like a fixed process, it's not something like and that's I mean, the thing I like about composition is that it's always different from every song. uh, yeah.
Yeah. And you end up looking at it from all these different angles, and sometimes it doesn't amount to anything, but it's a humbling experience regardless.
Yeah, yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I've been working. I there's a piano piece that I've been working on since 1980.
Wow.
So I play it, I mess with it, I change it, I do things to it, and then I put it away. And just recently, I just started a music library with a friend and my co-host Rob Wingler, and we I decided to dust it off and send it to him, and I finally found a melody that I liked on top, you know.
Yeah.
And I've always had this beautiful chord progression, but no melody. And I found a melody for it, and I sent it to him, and now he's stymied trying to create a fretless bass part for it.
Wow.
so so it's fun. It's amazing how it keeps you humble and keeps you hungry. It's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, Let me talk about the Rev Star for a second. Um, what were you playing before you started playing the Rev Star? What was your go-to?
Where? Oh, I have it here, I think. That was my
I
guitar.
knew it. I knew you were going to pull out an SG.
Yeah, that was the gift from my father for my 14th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my first professional guitar, let's say. It's a Gibson SG from 2010, if I remember
Mm-hmm.
correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I just changed the pickups. These are the Marzios, and other than
Mm-hmm.
that, it's just a regular SG. And that was because I was really a big fan, and still I am a big fan of AC/DC. So I wanted to sound like Angus Young back in the days. That's why it's still one of my favorite birthday gifts.
That's beautiful.
And that was my go-to guitar for a long time. I at
Right.
least from 2010 to 2016, maybe 2017. I think I started working with Yamaha in 2017, and I started working with like some internet videos and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And back at the time, I was searching for a guitar that was, of course, similar to the SG, but a little bit more versatile in a
Yes.
way, because I began to be interested on a lot of jazz stuff. So I was searching for a guitar that was having also the jazz element to it, let's say. And the
Mm-hmm.
Revstar was a good choice because I was still searching for a solid body, and I didn't want to have like a hollow or a semi-hollow because I'm a small person, so I like small guitars. I don't want to
Same
go
here.
like an L5, you know. And that's why I choose to play with the Revstar, because it was like the modern solid body guitar with the jazz sound as well, but
Mm-hmm.
with a good rock humbucker, let's
Yep.
say. And now I'm experimenting more with Strat style guitars. I really
Mm-hmm.
like the Pacifica, for example. I
Mm-hmm.
also installed a new, it's called the Vega Trem. It's a new tremolo system.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've had
there's
them on the show actually. Yeah. Good
yeah, and
guy.
it's
Good
sounding
guys.
really good, really
Mm-hmm.
stable. So I didn't have any trouble with the tuning, and
Mm-hmm.
that was my main problem with Strats actually. But right now with the Pacifica, it's really stable, so that it's my second guitar for the tour. For example, I always brought two guitars with me, starting from the European tour that I did some
Mm-hmm.
months ago, and for
Mm-hmm.
this American tour, I will also have two guitars: the Revstar and the Pacifica as well.
Which Pacifica model are you bringing?
I think it's the professional one. It's the
Uh-huh.
new one that they made. I don't remember. Uh, I don't think I have it here at the studio, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the. Uh, I don't remember the name of the wood, but it's the uh, like almost white one on the fretboard. I don't
Oh,
remember
okay.
the
Yeah.
name.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but anyway, it sounds very good. And the Revstar is my um, custom model. Yamaha made it for me when I think in 2019, they made
Mm-hmm.
basically a modified version of a Revstar
Right.
model, and
Right.
that's the Revstar I'm using right now. Yeah,
Yeah. I love that because of your technique of using your three fingers and the classical style, that you took a section of the pickup ring
yeah,
and nailed and screwed it down so you could have a thumb rest, which was brilliant. That was such a smart idea to do that. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and
I did copy this from bass players actually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
mean,
uh,
yeah, my P bass in the back has that thumb rest, and I love that. It's
yeah,
great. But yeah, I love the Revstar. I you can see mine in the back, I think.
yeah,
Uh, to me, as soon as I started playing one, I was like, wow, this is so, like you said, so versatile, and it's an SG killer because it'll do all the things that an SG will do,
yeah,
plus so
yeah,
much
yeah,
more. And yeah, I mean, it is the first guitar that I have my Epiphone Dot, I have a Sheridan, all these beautiful semi hollows that I could use for like a jazz track, but I find myself going to the Revstar over and over again for that. I,
hmm
I use that push pull and back it off and use the neck pickup, and I've got something beautiful going on there. It's wonderful.
yeah,
It
yeah. It's a
really
lot
is.
of tonal possibilities. You can
Absolutely.
also split the humbuckers as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really good. Um, let's see what else. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Your latest single, it's called Pole Position.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Now, is that a takeoff of Pole Position, the video game?
Well, no, I don't know any pole position video game
Okay,
actually,
then
but
what does pole position mean?
that was such just a silly name because I wanted to dedicate this song to Paul Gilbert. That it's
Ah,
one of my favorite guitar players, um, and I began to okay, maybe this song can be called Pole Position because like okay, it's really fast, like Pole Position and Paul, like the name, but it's just a silly name. I mean,
okay,
uh, yeah, yeah. And the thing with Paul is that I recognized some of his lines when I improvised the solo. That there's a really long solo section at the middle of the song. And I
right,
realized, okay, this is very Paul Gilbert like. There are a lot of licks from him. So maybe it's good to dedicate the song to him, maybe. So that was the main idea. But I recorded actually this song was I wrote this song like in just 2 days because I had to do a performance at the NAMM show in 2023
right,
and I needed to have some backing tracks. And because the performance was with the baritone guitar, I needed to have something that, you know, with like open strings as well. So in order to use the baritone in its full length, let's
right.
say. So I wrote this stuff just for a demo for the baritone guitar, and that became a song afterwards. Uh, yeah, but the,
Has Paul heard the song?
I
Yeah,
don't know. I honestly I don't know. But yeah, I will be happy, of course.
yeah, that's cool. Somebody's got to let him know. I got to reach out to his. I know who handles him, so I'm going to reach out
Yeah.
so, and let them know. Hey, check this out, y'all. Um, that's super cool. So, you mentioned earlier that there's going to be a second record. Is it already recorded, or are you still writing right now?
I still writing it right now. I have 4 songs ready. If everything goes well, I will have another 4 songs by the end of this year, and I have some plans to release it maybe at start of 2026 or maybe January or February 2026. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I hope you would come back and talk to us about it. We can do a track by track. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
I would love that. So did you ever find any, and a couple more questions, I got to let you go, but did you ever find that you had other influences other than guitar players? Because I've heard the list of your guitar influences and they're wonderful, same as me. But sometimes when I hear you play, I hear saxophone.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of players. There are not guitar players that I transcribe. That I try to like implement in my playing, and that was a period of time where I was at the conservatory back
Right.
like 19, 20 years old, and I began to study jazz standards as well. And a lot of people were talking about Charlie Parker, Sonny
Mm,
Stitt, Freddie Hubbard, a lot of people from the hard bop era, especially Charlie Parker, of course.
yeah.
So I began to implement some lines from some saxophone lines, especially with the guitar. And that was one of the hardest things I ever studied because, guitar lines are meant to be played with guitar. So
Hmm.
they are really some of them are really easy for the fingers, like 3 note per string stuff. They're really guitaristic, let's say,
Right.
but not saxophone lines or the piano lines, for example. If you want to play a solo from Oscar Peterson, you need to study the fingering, you need to figure out a way to do certain lines, and it's
Yep.
really a lot of study. And I began to be interested in it because I wanted to expand my vocabulary and not only copying guitar players, of course.
Right.
And I realized that piano players and saxophone players, they have a way of phrasing and vocabulary that sometimes is far superior to guitar players. Of course, if you compare them on a jazz standard setting. And still, one of the toughest solos I ever learned was a transcription that I did uh, from Bob Minzer, and it's a
Hmm.
solo that he made on Giant Steps. Bob Minzer
Hmm.
is the saxophone player from Yellow Jackets, and is still one of my favorite saxophone players. And it was really painful to transcribe because there were a lot of strange rhythmic ideas, uh, like strange vocabulary lines, but that was incredibly useful to me because I really expanded the way I think about phrasing and vocabulary, especially like Sonny Stitt. Also, for example, one a great example of how you internalize hard bop stuff and bebop stuff, and also people like Wes Montgomery,
Oh
they were
yeah.
actually stealing their licks
Oh yeah.
from these players, you know. So
Hmm.
in a way, even if you study certain type of players, you absorb also a little bit of bebop,
Hmm.
piano, saxophone stuff.
Hmm.
Michael Brecker also
I was just thinking of Brecker when you said
crazy, crazy lines. Michael, it's really one of the best improvisers I've ever heard.
that.
And of course, that was a period of time where I was really studying a lot of jazz standards, and I was
Right.
really into like wanted to play through the changes in a really good way, and it was really useful for my, of course, fretboard knowledge and vocabulary as well. Yeah.
Hmm. Did you ever hear? There's a record by Pat Metheny called 8081. Are you familiar with that record?
Not really.
Yeah, it's Brecker's on there with him. It's Pat, Brecker, Charlie Hayden, Dewey Redden.
Oh, wow, great.
Yeah, it's called 8081. It's mind blowing. Very, very good.
Wow.
Yeah, to
I
hear.
have to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Well, Matteo, I can't thank you enough for spending some time with us today, and congratulations on the U.S. tour.
Thank
Folks,
you.
this tour starts on May 20 and it runs through 6:30. I'm going to post on our social where you can see him. I'll post links to your website as well. So people, I imagine that the list of tour dates is there as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, great. And we'll push it out there to everybody and let everybody know. We're airing in 52 countries right now, so this is super cool. I'm glad we can push you out there. You are really a blessing in music, I think, and the best thing that's happened in a long time. And I appreciate your honesty and your authenticity.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you so
you're
much, man. I
I can't
appreciate
wait.
it.
I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Good luck on the tour.
Good luck.
Bye
Thanks so
bye.
much.